Hello and welcome to episode number 274 of the Launch Lounge podcast. In today's episode, you'll discover my proven webinar conversion checklist that can triple your sales without spending more on ads or working harder. So stay tuned. Hello, everyone. I want to tell you something funny that I just happened to stumble upon yesterday. I talked about the lovely email I got from Anthony the other day. Thank you, Anthony, again. And I asked Anthony if he wouldn't mind rating and reviewing the podcast for me, please. Because you see, I've been asking on the show for you guys to rate and review the show for the longest time. And I use a certain software to see when you guys rate and review the show. But I've also gone into my Apple podcasts to see if there's any new reviews. I've tried checking on Spotify and Spotify shows me nothing. And so I've been like, why do I keep asking, but no one's giving me new reviews? And I used to get loads of reviews back in the day, like loads and loads and loads. When I asked, I got loads. And then Anthony kindly replied to the email, again, thank you, Anthony, and said, well, my wife's already left a review for you, and I've just left one too. And I was like, what is happening here? Because I am not seeing any of these reviews. So I have gotten rid of the old software. And I got new software that shows me my reviews in one place for all of my podcasts. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart to Kirby in Australia and Mel in the UK and Facey NL in Spain and Anthony and all of you listening and rating and reviewing the show. Because I asked, and you have done it. You have done it. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, I'm not seeing any reviews. Why am I not seeing reviews? So I want to say from the bottom of my heart to all of you who have reviewed the show, thank you so very, very, very much. Those 5-star ratings mean the world to me. And the lovely comments, Facey NL from Spain said, so much valuable content. I'm learning so much from Salome, and she's funny too. Just the insights I need to keep moving forward. Thank you so much, Facey NL. I love it when you guys call me smart, but I love it even more when you call me funny. So thank you very much. And how funny is that? Like, how often does that happen in business, right? That is just one of those glitchy tech things that we get to be part of our worlds. Yeah, so funny. Way back. Let's switch the tone here. We're talking about webinars way back. When I did my very first webinar, and I'm trying to think when that was, that would have been in 2014, maybe 2015. I would have done my very first webinar. And back then I was doing webinars for free as a way to build my audience and as a way to build know, like, and trust factor, as you do in the beginning, right? But with that first sales webinar that I did, so if you know my story, you know that I sold a course called the Facebook Live Superstar. That was my very first online course that I sold. And I sold it, I ran $400 worth of ads and I made $2,000, and I was so disappointed in those results. And if I had those results today, I'd be really happy and I would know that I should just rinse and repeat and keep going. But back then, after so many months of work, I was very disappointed in a $2,000 sale. If only I had this podcast to listen to then. It's a good thing I created it, so you guys don't have to make that mistake. Anyway, I remember sitting there planning the webinar and having that, blank screen moment where you're just like, well, I know I'm supposed to put something in this webinar, but what do I put in this webinar, and how do I even say it, and how do I structure it? And I will tell you that if you didn't know this about me, I have a background in musical theater. So I am in my complete, absolute comfort zone when I'm speaking to a large group of people and I'm winging it. Like that to me is I love it. Maybe I've often considered a late in life career change to becoming a stand-up comedian. Hopefully I'm funny enough for that. I'll stick to my day job for now. But I remember looking at those webinar slides and knowing that I need to put something in there, but I'm not sure exactly what to put in there. And then I started learning from people like Amy Porterfield, and I bought David Siteman Garland's webinar course. I bought Frank Kern's webinar course. I bought Russell Brunson's webinar stuff. If anybody has ever spoken about a webinar, I have probably bought that course, right? And today, from all the people that I have learned from, and from all the webinars that I have run, and from all the webinars that I've worked on with clients and students, I have my own unique way of scripting webinars and structuring webinars. And I've started putting my thoughts about this, like kind of taking it out of my head and dropping it into documents so that I can give that to my clients and help them with their webinar structure a bit more. And I'm building some AI tools around it, which is really cool. But I'm applying all of those AI stuff to our clients at this stage, and I love seeing the difference we can make with these AI tools from having me put my knowledge into it and then being able to apply it to clients and students to their work really quickly and easily. It's absolutely revolutionized the way we work. But today, I want to share with you kind of a list, a checklist, a shopping list of possible ways you can increase conversions in your next webinar. And I'm going to divide the list into some sections, right? So the first section is your pre-webinar preparation. And the first thing on my list is defining your offer. I want you to look at your offer and make sure that your offer. Now, you might be, no, okay, hold up. You might be saying, yeah, okay, but what do you mean by offer? What I mean by offer essentially is the promise of the outcome you will deliver for your students. The promise of the outcome you will deliver, right? So when I'm selling A-lister, the promise of the outcome is build your list and make your first sales using ads without getting a tech degree or gambling your money away. That is the promise of the outcome. That's my offer. Now, obviously the what in that is Facebook ads, but I'm not leading with what. I'm leading with what they want. Build your email list and make your first sale, right? So I deliver on that through Facebook ads. And then I overcome their objections without getting a tech degree or gambling your money away, right? That's the offer for that course. So when I'm talking about the offer, the first thing I want you to think about is my offer clearly defined as a solution to my ideal customer's problem, not just to what I am selling, right? Remember, I'm selling Facebook ads, but I'm not framing my offer as master Facebook ads so you can increase traffic. Like, nobody wants to increase traffic. That's not the end goal, right? So you want to nail these three elements: the pain your ideal customer is experiencing, their desired end state, and your unique system that links the two together, along with overcoming some objections. And we're going to talk about objections later. So item number 1 on my list is define your offer well. Item number 2 is craft a high converting webinar title. The title should name the biggest pain point, the deepest desire, and the most common objection, right? I've just given you an example of that. It should summarize the transformation and also, if you're going to run ads to it, abide by the Meta ads policy, okay? So let me give you some examples here. Here's a webinar title I recently helped a client create for a webinar. Stitch with confidence. Learn to create needlepoint projects that turn out just the way you imagined it. Even if you've struggled with stitch choices, second-guessed your threads, or felt totally overwhelmed staring at a blank canvas. Now, this ideal customer is someone who has an idea in their head for a stitching project, but they don't know how to get it out of their head and onto their canvas. A second example for you is 3 little-known secrets to building engaged audiences and making your first 10K faster using Facebook ads without wasting money, selling your soul on social media, or hiring an army of geeks. That is literally the webinar title of the A-lister webinar, right? So I want you to listen to how I structured that and then craft your webinar title that way. So if you need to come back to this, come back to this. Number 3, understand your ideal customer. I remember when I started out and every time I was trying to learn new things and someone would go back to, understanding your ideal customer. And I'd be like, oh, come on, not this ideal customer stuff again. I've already written down that she's a middle-aged woman who drives an SUV. What else is there to know? I was so naive. You need to deeply understand their pain points and their desires, and take it a level further. You need to know how they speak about their pain points and their desires. Because when you can speak the same language as they do, then you go from a place in your marketing where your ideal customer says, oh, I see you, to a place in your marketing where your ideal customer goes, oh, you see me. And that is marketing gold. The next thing on my list is optimize your webinar registration page. This page is your biggest conversion point leading up to a sale. You got to test some strategies like different headlines, images, button copy, button placement, testimonials, shorter versions, put social proof on it. Whatever you can do to increase the conversion rate on that webinar page, do that. Focus on writing your copy in conversion style language, right? You lead with benefits. Use some numbers to create specificity. Stack your desired outcomes and overcome their initial objections to signing up. Make it super easy for them. Make sure they know when it is, where it is, what they need to expect, everything, right? Don't just create the page and be done with it. Search for examples from other people in your industry. If you go to the ads library, if you just Google Facebook ads library, you'll find the ads library. Look up your biggest competitor and see what webinars ads they're running, if they're running webinar ads, right? Or ask yourself, what's on the pages of webinars I've signed up for in the past? The next one on my list is create a dedicated show up email sequence. Now, I am blown away by how many people don't have this in place. And then they don't make enough sales, but it's not because they didn't sell their little hearts out. It's because not enough people showed up to the webinar. And with a simple dedicated show up email sequence, you can overcome this. I want you to include immediate registration confirmation email as the first one. It has to go out instantly, not 5 minutes later. Instantly. If your email CRM only allows you to send an email 5 minutes later, get a different one. You can't send out 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a lifetime if in digital world, right? Highlight the core benefits and the transformation they can experience when they show up live for your webinar, and create urgency and scarcity with limited seats. Highlight exactly what they're going to miss and provide clear tech instructions to them. And then use some psychological triggers like scarcity and social proof and commitment and being part of a community to increase that feeling of togetherness and feeling of usness when they show up for your webinar. I've just given you an extensive list of things you can do to increase show up rates, but just choose one, right? Choose one. Just create a show up sequence and your webinar show up rates will already go up. And I want you to aim to get at least 25% of those people who sign up for your webinar to show up as well. The next one is plan engagement throughout. Know how to get attendees to say yes in their minds and in the comments during your presentation. The more you can get people to say yes, the better frame of mind they'll will be in to say yes to your sale as well. So prepare some questions for the Q&A. And if you can anchor their desired outcomes into an identity, like this is who we are when we have achieved this result, then you will see an increase in sales as well. The next one is structure your webinar content. Develop a solid outline using a framework. Maybe you learned from Amy. Maybe you learned from Russell. If you have no idea where to start, send me an email. I'll send you one of my documents. They're not formatted. They don't look pretty yet, but I'll send it to you anyway. The other resource I give my students all the time is to buy Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets. It's a really great book that gives you a framework for your webinar, right? So don't just wing it. You need a structure on that webinar. But again, if you need help, if you want free help and you want the quick and dirty, just send me an email, podcast@thelaunchlounge.com, and I'll send you my webinar resource that'll give you some structure.
If you're ready to start scaling your business, get back your time and step into your freedom empire, listen up. I'm excited to share that we've got just 2 spots opening up in our VIP client level in May. We're taking on 2 new course creators in the Launch Lounge marketing and ads agency during May. And honestly, we are pretty pumped about what we're offering. Here's the deal. We don't just run your ads. We're your go-to growth partners who look at your whole marketing picture. The best part? We've built some really cool AI tools that our clients are loving. These tools help spruce up your launch copy so it actually connects with your audience. They make your webinar content way more engaging, and they spot those missed opportunities in your sales process so you can turn more viewers into buyers during your launches. Our clients tell us they're finally getting off that exhausting launch roller coaster. They're seeing sales come in consistently and getting back precious time with their families. If you're already making at least $100K per year, have an offer that people love, and you're committed to doing the work to scale, we should definitely chat. You've built something awesome. Now let us help you grow it without the stress. Just head over to thelaunchlounge.com/agency and apply. But don't wait too long. Those 2 spots won't hang around.
The next one on the list, build trust and authority early. Include a welcome that highlights the transformation they can expect by attending and being live. Offer a stay till the end bonus and make sure you validate that they're in the right place by detailing their pain points that they're experiencing right now and their desired outcomes so that they know you understand them. Share your story, but I want you to write your story as the hero's journey. Like, if you don't know what the hero's journey is, just Google it. And then put your story into a hero's journey that they can relate with. So everything that you have experienced, they're having those pain points too. They're having those frustrations too, but you have a solution to it. Tell them how you came upon that solution and structure it as a hero's journey. All right, the next phase of my list is during the webinar, right? During the webinar presentation. I want you to ditch the script mostly. And I say mostly here because if you're reading word for word, you're going to break connection with the audience. You're not going to feel warm and fuzzy. It's going to be cold and it's going to be like you're talking at them. I want you to write out your script, but memorize only the language around certain parts. The key areas that I want you to memorize is your transition from content to sales pitch. And the reason I'm saying I want you to memorize it is because you're going to be nervous. You're going to be nervous transitioning from content to the pitch because it's not a natural thing to change the way you're speaking. And you are now entering territory where you're asking for money. And that comes with a whole bunch of psychological stuff that you might be carrying around with you. So the pitch and the transition to the pitch, I want you to practice that. Get your mouth around it, right? You have to know your lines and you should be able to articulate the key pain points, the key desires, the main benefits of your course or program, and those transition moments off by heart. The rest of it, you can kind of bullet point and speak through it. Next one. Yeah, master that transition on the list. I've just spoken about that, but ease into the selling phase seamlessly. I want you to start by asking some obvious yes questions. So they've just been on this training with you, they've just learned a bunch of things. It can be as simple as, now that you know XYZ, do you feel more confident in achieving ultimate outcome? Yes, I do. Great. And now that you know ABC, does that mean you feel more empowered to achieve desired outcome? Great. Now that you know that I can help you achieve this and I can help you achieve this, let me introduce you to insert name of your course, right? So there's a little bit of a ad lib for you in terms of how you transition. I want you to use a simple recap. Something like, we talked about X and how you can achieve X. And when you know the secret that I just shared about how you can achieve X, if you agree that mastering XYZ will get you the thing you really want, then I would like to introduce you to my awesome course, right? That's an example of how you can transition from your content to your pitch. Next, perfect your pitch. Focus on the benefits your course provides and how it's the only solution. Highlight the transformation they're going to achieve. Highlight for them what it's going to look like at the end of having implemented everything. If you just list everything that's included in your course, you haven't created a transformation. Walk through the course content, linking your modules to benefits that they want. If your modules is just a list of stuff, it's not going to increase sales. If the list of stuff shows them how that stuff gets them where they want to go, that's going to increase sales. I want you to own your responsibility to show them why enrolling is the next right step. Don't rush the pitch. Don't be in a hurry to get out of there. Be familiar with your pitch slides and speak slowly and casually. Next one, present an irresistible offer. We spoke about this at the beginning, but remind the attendees of their deepest desires because they're in a fight with their brains. Their brains want to choose the path of least resistance. Recap systems and secrets and make sure you overcome their objections. Maybe give them two choices. Some of you will know this. In the webinar, you might say, well, the way I see it, you have two choices. You can do nothing and stay exactly where you are, or you can invest in this program now and then get to dream outcome that you want, right? Show that your offer is worth 10 times more than the price. You've got to stack all of that value for them, right? Next one on my list, leverage the Q&A. The Q&A is not about Q&A. The Q&A is about overcoming objections. So prepare some answers to the most common objections, but also to the most common questions that you get. If there's some logistics question that keeps showing up before people are willing to buy, address that because that is an objection, right? When someone's asking questions, that is an indication that they're interested in buying. So help them overcome that. But prepare some answers so that you know how to overcome the money objection, overcome the time objection, overcome the I don't believe I have what it takes objection. Next section of our long, extensive list of things you can do to 3x your webinar sales is the post-webinar follow-up and continuous optimization beyond the webinar. It's that phase once you've finished your last webinar, but your cart isn't closed yet. This is the phase I'm talking about. Implement a sales email sequence. You've got to sell your little heart out once the last webinar is done before the cart close. So send those sales emails to both attendees who didn't purchase and to those who didn't attend and haven't purchased yet. Make sure you have an abandoned cart sequence. Anyone who goes to your checkout page but doesn't buy need to instantly get an email that said, hey, you didn't complete your purchase. We know that happens. Click here to complete it now, right? use social proof and overcome those objections that they have. I want you to think about how you can use bonuses during the card open phase so that you can overcome the most common objections. The next one, address replay views. If people signed up for your webinar, but they didn't show up, make sure they get a limited time replay. It has to be limited time because if they just have access to the replay for forever, guess who's not going to watch it, right? If replay views are low or you get no shows on your webinar, having a replay in place and having some scarcity around that will increase the view rate of the webinar. And I promise you, the more people watch your webinar, the more sales you'll get. Next one, track and analyze data. This is crucial that you track every conversion point. And I've spoken about this on many episodes of the show. You start at the top of your funnel and you ask yourself, what is an action I want them to take? And that is what you track. Registrations, show up right. Did they watch the pitch? Did they stay till the end? Did they open the emails? Right? You might want to track separate sales rate for people who attended the webinar versus those who didn't attend, and then analyze your webinar analytics to identify drop-off points, particularly around the pitch. Knowing these numbers is essential for making strategic decisions and optimizing your funnel. Next on our list is to optimize iteratively. And what I mean by that is every time you run your webinar, use that tracked data to identify areas for improvement. We call this optimization, right? So you're going to optimize after each webinar. The best way to optimize your webinar launch is to survey your non-buyers. Send out a survey and ask them, hey, you recently signed up for XYZ masterclass. I'm curious. We noticed you didn't take up our offer to invest in whatever. We're curious. Could you please share your thoughts as to what is stopping you from buying right now, right? Simple survey that you send out to your non-buyers so that you can better understand why they didn't purchase despite being really curious and making all the right noises to show that they have interest in what you are offering. The last thing on my list is to run multiple webinars, right? Delivering a webinar multiple times allows you to get better at your content and at your pitch. The first 2 webinars typically get the most attention. So if you're running, 3 or 4 or 5 in a week, fill them up so that you get at least 400 registrants per webinar, which means you'll have statistically enough people on the webinar to get a result further down the funnel. By focusing on these elements and continuously testing and optimizing based on your data, you can work towards significantly increasing your webinar conversion rates. The goal conversion rate for attendees is usually about 10% or higher. And then we want to match the number of people who bought on the webinar with the same number of people buying post-webinar. Remember that improving conversions is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time fix. And as we wrap up today, I want you to imagine yourself confidently hosting your next webinar, not because you think this is the one that's going to make it rain money on your head, but because you have confidence in your ability to track every single little bit of that funnel, and you have confidence in your ability to make incremental changes to get closer and closer and closer to a funnel that is optimized. I want you to picture the moment when you see those sales notifications flooding in. Maybe your phone goes ping whenever PayPal shows you a sale. Picture that moment and don't just think about a few sales. Think about sales that consistently comes through during your card open phase. That feeling of knowing your message connected deeply with your audience and that they're taking action because of something you created, something that came out of your head and something that you built out of nothing is just an incredible feeling. It isn't just wishful thinking. It happens. You've got everything you need right now to start implementing these strategies. Remember, the most successful course creators aren't doing anything magical. Despite the fact that they'll tell you they are on social media because it gets attention, they're simply optimizing these key conversion points we've talked about today. So start with just one area from this checklist or one thing on this checklist. Maybe it's crafting an irresistible webinar title that speaks directly to your ideal customer's deepest desires. Or perhaps it's enhancing your show up sequence to get more registrants to actually attend live. Whatever you choose, commit to mastering that one piece before your next launch. And when you transform your webinar from just another presentation into a genuine connection point with your audience, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your impact deepens, and yes, your sales multiply, often 3 times over or more. You already have the expertise in your product. You know what you know, and you know what your audience needs. Now use this framework to deliver that in a way that's going to convert to more sales. This is how you build your freedom empire, one optimized webinar at a time. And if this is helping you, I would love to hear from you. Shoot me an email at podcast@thelaunchlounge.com. Tell me what's one thing you wish you could snap your fingers and make it simpler as it relates to your webinar launches. And I'll record a podcast episode especially for you to help you simplify your webinar launch. I read every email, so reach out to me. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Before you go, if today's episode helped you, imagine how many more lives could be transformed if other creators, coaches, and experts found these strategies too. Your shares and reviews help more course creators discover how to get their knowledge out into the world. Please take a moment to rate the show and leave a quick review. When you do, we get to reach more people and we make a bigger impact together. Because when more people who help people succeed, the world becomes a better place. Thank you.